Greetings and welcome to another episode of Catholicism and Coffee. I am Stephen Kaczynski.
I'm Beth Kaczynski.
We talk about Catholicism, all things Catholic, and enjoy some great brews. Today we're going to be talking about Catholicism and the creative process. At least our approach to the creative process.
Yes.
So, if you don't know, we are both writers. We have worked in nonfiction as well as fictional settings for our writing. I've made films.
Yes.
I've been a screenwriter. You have written up, and we both have written devotionals.
Yes, you can find them on Amazon.
Well, we might put them in the bottom of the description of this video. So, there's that. So, what is our approach? Because we actually had a couple of people ask us about this on our appearances on other podcasts as well as our own. So, how do we approach it?
Okay, well, so just a disclaimer, we're going to be focusing mostly on the fiction process because there's a creative process for nonfiction works too, but it's a little more detailed for fiction. So the first thing first, you got to have your characters. Every book, every movie, well, just about has characters, unless it's some oddball, artsy film.
They have characters too.
Yeah, maybe not people though.
Yeah, but they could still be characters.
But your characters, and they're who your readers, your audience are going to connect with. Because, hey, they're people. We're people. At least I think.
Yeah. Last I checked.
So how do we create good characters?
When are they real? Are they relatable?
Yes.
Do they have depth?
Yes.
Is there layers to them? Because, people are complicated. Individuals are complicated. You're Beth, the wife, a musician, a writer, podcast host, cook. We're all more than the sum of our parts, but there's layers. And good writing shows really layered folks.
Yes. And these layers help people to relate to them and bond with them. Because if there's more layers, there's more there for people to relate to. There might be a character who's a man. I'm like, I'm not a man. I can't relate to him. But I'm like, oh, he's a musician just like me. I can relate to him now.
Yeah. And if your characters are the protagonists
Yes.
of your story, are they a good role model? Are they someone you are inspired by? Are you wanting them to win? If you have an antagonist. Now, some people would ask, do I want them to lose? Do I understand them? You may not be able to understand some villainous characters, and that's okay. But do I want them to lose? Or do I love to hate them? Those are always fun.
Yes. So beyond our characters, what kind of story do you want to tell? Well, first off, you want your stories to be entertaining. Mm-hmm. Because if they're not entertaining, people aren't going to pay attention.
No.
And another thing is, you want to teach and promote good values. Everyone loves a good versus evil battle story. We have them throughout the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
Story of Moses, anyone?
Yes. And also, you need to have structure in your stories.
Yes.
Because you can't have the constantly, and then. That's bad storytelling, and if you're just using it to insert talking points, your story's going to suffer. And it's happened on both sides of the aisle. And it's very frustrating.
So you think about your characters, you think about your story, but there's a deeper question to ponder. Why am I writing this? To entertain, to persuade, to make a comment on something, to parody, to mock. But you do have to consider, what are my instincts? Are they good instincts? Now, let's think about this. Are you just wanting to write some smutty romance or bad fan fiction for the sake of writing something crappy?
To just insert yourself into something? Or just to be like, I'm just writing this just for me. Now, on the surface, that may not be a bad thing, but if you're not you need to worry about your audience.
Yes, and even if you're writing it just for you, how is that going to affect you? Now, there's nothing wrong with writing fan fiction. There's nothing wrong with writing romance, but it should be good romance that points you to good moral things, that points you to God. Don't write smutty romance for the sake of wanting to live something out in your brain.
Yeah.
That's not going to do you any favors.
Yeah. Writing masturbation is not good.
Yeah. And another thing is, are you wanting to tell a good story and share and entertain, or are you exploring some internal dark side, as we just talked about?
Mm-hmm.
And related to that, you want to consider, how will the work represent me or us, because we've co-written some things, to our audience or audiences. So I've written some plays, one acts. They were performed at a local community theater, but my name is attached to them, or was. And I want the audience to see my name attached to something good, to align with who I really am.
Yeah. I mean, in film world, if you don't mind me switching.
Yes, please do.
In film world, certain directors have a certain style and certain subjects that they just seem to be in their wheelhouse. Like for example, Sam Raimi. He's a horror director, and there are elements in every Sam Raimi film that there are certain horror picture type elements in them, for the most part. So that's not unusual. And also, when you're considering how your work represents yourself to your audience, are you consistent in what you're saying and what you're doing? If you're wanting to write something, I'm trying to think of a good example. If you're writing, you're like, oh, I'm a quality auteur. I'm a real serious about telling stories, and you write stuff that just is. The characters are bland or uninteresting or just insufferable. And then you're like, but this is who I am. Oh, this is so important to me. Maybe you're coming across as insufferable. And then you attack the fans for being ticked at you when you say, oh, this isn't written for you, this is written for me. You come across as insufferable, and then your fans are going to be turned off. There was an infamous movie that came out a few years back. They were like, well, this wasn't written for this audience. Well, guess what? That audience didn't turn out. And then they're all confused. Well, why didn't they come out to see our movie? You just told them you didn't want them to. Make up your mind. That's your question. So definitely take that into consideration.
Now, if you're an amateur writer, you're just getting started and you struggle a bit, that is okay.
Absolutely.
Keep up the practice. But don't intentionally write things that are bad just because you want to write something that's bad. I mean, who wants to do that? I don't understand.
I was a bad writer.
I was a bad writer.
We've gotten better because we practice.
Yes.
And we've had, also, just a general thing, get some people you can trust to give you good feedback.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I've gotten some really great feedback from a trusted board of advisors. You've been on that board.
Oh,
I think
thank you.
others.
Yes. So let's bring up another question. We're talking about representing ourselves. So if you're Catholic, should you only write things that are religious in nature? No. The first thing we ever wrote together was a fairy tale parody.
Yep.
There was no mention of God, really, or Jesus. There was no parable element.
No.
It was just a fun little story.
We just wanted to tell a good story. Now, none of our, and we don't, it's not smutty or anything like that. It's actually quite wholesome. But we just were having fun.
Yes. So now if you are Catholic and you're writing a non-Catholic or non-religious story, that's fine, but still just make sure it's morally upright. You don't need characters muttering a curse word every other word for the sake of just, I think it's fun if they do that. It's like, no. Now if you're saying, hey, don't do this because you'll be damned to hell, that's different.
Yeah. You can't, you have to take things in context. 'Cause,
Yes.
I mean, certain projects, it would make sense for characters to curse every other word, but you just have to take things in context, which is very important.
Yes. And you definitely don't want your hero being
Obnoxious?
Yes.
Unless they're supposed to be, like a Tony Stark. He's kind of obnoxious.
Yeah. Now, if you are Catholic and you want to write things that are religious in nature, that's great. You should do it. I highly encourage it. But also you have to remember to stay true to the faith.
Yeah. Don't be posting stuff that's incorrect. So do your research, follow up, talk to, versed people in the field.
And maybe you have something that's fictional and religious, which we've got several of those in the works.
Yeah.
But we have to do our research. We want to get our facts straight. We want the people or the characters in the stories who are Catholic or Christian to behave Catholic, behave as Christians. Now, are they perfect? No. But we also use those imperfections to help them grow.
Yeah. Let your characters grow too. That's very important.
Yes. That's what helps give them depth, keep them real.
Absolutely.
So let's say you're not wanting to write a fiction work. You're wanting to write some nonfiction that's religious in nature. So consider, how does this line up with what our faith teaches? As we mentioned, we've written several devotionals. We have one for Advent, one for Lent. Then we have a Christmas-themed book study. Well, not a book study, just a study.
Study of the faith.
Yes. So how do we make sure that it lines up with what our faith teaches?
Lots of research. Lots of work hours.
Yes. Keep the catechism nearby.
Keep a catechism and scripture nearby. Look up church documents. We actually did a lot of that. And I'm working on a book on and off. I'm doing a lot of research. I'm hearing from, I talk to priests and other folks who are well versed in their fields to kind of make sure I'm getting everything lined up correctly.
Because we do not want to share false facts.
No.
Which would need to be facts.
Falsehoods.
Yes.
Falsehoods.
And also when creating our show, we have to do a lot of the same research, checking facts, being like, does the church actually say this? Oh, good, it does. This is more of our opinion. We better put a disclaimer.
Yeah. We were on one of our brother shows. We can call them brothers. They put up the little chyron, don't take theology advice from us, which made me respect them more. So if we're having serious questions, you're working on something. Let's say you're sitting down writing a script or a book, and you're having doubts about something. What should you do? First off, pray. Very important. Second, look up church teaching and subject. And of course, last but not least, seek counsel from trusted folks that you know will not steer you wrong, or at least give you some insight. Maybe you'll come back with more questions than answers, but maybe those questions need to be asked.
Yes. And if you're having serious questions about including something and it's just affecting your conscience, if in doubt, leave it out. Is it going to affect the story if you leave out some curse words? Highly, highly doubtful.
Yeah.
And one thing that definitely is not advisable is taking the Lord's name in vain.
No.
Doesn't matter if it's fiction or real life. You don't want to be encouraging anyone to do that by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. When I've written fictional, I won't do it.
Yes.
I did that once. And that comment, and someone mentioned it, and I was like, oh, shoot. I didn't realize I was doing it because it wasn't like a obvious one. But then I realized it and I was like, oh man, I don't want to do that again. And I've been very conscious of not doing that anymore.
And in many instances like that, you can convey the same idea you want to get across without it affecting your conscience or without going against the faith or God.
Yeah.
So the most important thing in the creative process, be genuine. You don't need to write like anybody else. Nobody can write the way you do. If you're an aspiring writer or creative by any stretch of the imagination, this point is for you. Be you. There's no one else who can be you.
No.
So, I was a creative writing major in college. A lot of people in my classes, they'd write these darker stories about murders and crimes. I never wrote that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not judging them for writing that stuff. If they felt compelled to write that, that's up to them. But I was writing fairy tale parodies. So if you want to write fairy tale parodies, even though everyone else is writing these dark crime stories, you write the best darn fairy tale parodies you can.
Yeah. Which is funny considering I've written those dark murder stuff, and then you and I co-wrote a couple of fairy tale parodies. So, it's fine. It can work. Stretch yourself. Try things. I was doing these dark thrillers for a while, and I said, what should I do for my next film? And a guy said, a romantic comedy. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. Sat down, I wrote a romantic comedy. It's not bad. You can find it. And this is a personal one for me. Be the answer to bad writing. Because, let's be honest, Hollywood hasn't been so great about putting out good work. I'm trying not to be too insulting, because that's my other persona.
Drink your coffee.
Oh boy. I'm out. We're in trouble. The writing, if you're seeing what's wrong, you're able to accurately diagnose the problem with writing of these various television shows, movies, books. Look at the people who actually do it very well, and maybe take some cues from them. How do I build really good characters that aren't so insufferable, that it doesn't seem like they're bringing them into something? Listen to some critics who love the craft, who love good stories. Look at them and be like, what are they criticizing them of? If they're just old man yelling at clout, that's fine. There are people like that, and they have their place in the criticism world. But listen to the people who are like, that doesn't sound like that character. That character wouldn't do that. Here's what this character might do instead. Just look at people who are, if they're criticizing a work and they're pretty, reasonable, logical, look at what they have to say. And if you're getting feedback about, oh, this is kind of an issue, oh, this is kind of an issue. Now, you don't have to take 100% of what they said. I certainly haven't. But it made me raise an eyebrow. I'm like, I better relook at that and see if there's any way I can improve it. I had a really good friend of mine criticize me on a final confrontation between two main characters. And he's like, this feels really contrived. Now, I'm going to still keep the conflict, but I need a better way to lead up. He goes, the conflict itself is not bad. Need to find a better way to make it lead up to it. I said, okay, that's fair. It was a good criticism. So take all of that in mind.
Mm-hmm. And never stop learning, never stop growing.
And as Beth said, if you're wanting to write films or television or books, read a lot. Read books. Books are a great way to learn story structure.
Yes.
Read film scripts from great films. You can find a lot of film scripts online.
Yes.
There are little shorts on social media where they'll show you how a script is going while showing the movie at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Look at how all that works out. Find some textbooks about this kind of thing. There are tons of resources out there. Look into all of that.
I saved them from the trash once.
That you did.
We'll tell that story some other time.
We'll tell that story on another episode. But just look at this stuff. And if you have any thoughts or recommendations, or if you have any questions, comment on these videos. We'll be happy to answer your questions. We had a gentleman, I believe he's a gentleman.
A human.
An individual. There we go. An individual asked some really awesome questions. Mm-hmm. We love this kind of thing. We love to share our faith and our heart and all this stuff with all of you. We're at 100 subscribers now. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for your subscriptions. And if you have been watching our videos and haven't subscribed, please do. It helps us, because then we will have the ability to do more cool stuff with you. We have a lot of neat things on the horizon, not just our course. We're going to be doing more episodes. We want to do more stuff, like maybe even live stream at some point in the future. We're still figuring out how to do all this, because we're kind of fumbling our way along. Hopefully we're not failing upward, but we're trying to learn. And we're so grateful for you going on this journey with us.
Yes. And if you don't want to leave a comment where everyone can see it, You can always message us privately on Facebook. You can find us Catholicism and Coffee. You'll see our nice little logo there. And can they message us through YouTube as well?
No.
No? Okay. Well, send us a private message on Facebook.
If you're not wanting it public. And
Yes.
if you have any questions, please ask.
Yes, and we'll be happy to either respond to you and maybe we'll even answer it on the show.
Yeah. And if we don't know, we'll just say, we don't know, let me get back to you on that and find the answer to the question. Because we really care about this kind of thing. And we love interacting with our audience.
We do.
And some of you know us personally, who watch our show. We like hanging out with you guys too. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll throw our little video for morality and movies at the end. We know you've loved our episode with our little short with our cat. She's around here somewhere. So thank you. I guess we'll end it as we normally do.
Sure.
Be bold, be brave, be courageous. God bless.
Drink coffee.
Drink coffee. God bless. Is there nothing to watch anymore? Oh, for the love of all that is holy. No. Oh, for the... No.
Are you struggling to find something to watch?
Gee, what gave you that idea?
You've been scrolling through quite some time. Talk about how terrible everything is.
Well, can you blame me? They can't even tell if a boy's a boy, a girl's a girl, and the morality in these films is all screwed up. Bad guys are good guys are bad. What is this nonsense?
You know, if you look, you can actually find a lot of good things in movies, even today's movies.
Do you have a special search engine or something? I am not taking one of those, filter everything out. We tried that.
No search engine, no filters. But you can check out Catholicism and Coffee's upcoming course, Morality in Movies.
Those two characters who talk about Catholicism all day, don't they have something better to do?
They like movies, I heard.
That actually doesn't sound too bad. So, where can I find this? Well, when is it coming out?
It's going to be on their website later this year.
Oh, okay. That actually doesn't sound too terrible. I hope they're not just doing Christian movies and stuff like that.
Oh no, not at all. They're doing all kinds of movies. Lots of different genres, different eras. They've got Star Wars, Harry Potter, Pixar, superheroes, all kinds of good stuff.
I guess I'll check that out.
I think you should.
So there you have it, there you are. We are actually delving into movie criticism.
From a Catholic point of view.
Absolutely, and we're going to be talking about all kinds of multiple movies over multiple genres. It's very exciting. You may have just with Beth, you may have some just with me, and there are a couple that we actually do together.
Yes.
So, check out our Morality in Movies that Catholicism and Coffee is proudly presenting, and we hope you actually enjoy these. You can pick and choose of the different movies or the different genres. We have some package deals. We'll have all that worked out for you, and you'll get to see all of that on our website, which will be linked in this video.
So stay tuned for more.
God bless.